Well, a merry holiday season for most people includes lots of baked goods, lots of traditional recipes with all the trimmings. But if you're on a gluten-free diet, and so many people are, enjoying holiday food can be a little bit more challenging. So Elana Amsterdam, author of the Gluten-Free Almond Flour Cookbook, joins us live in studio this morning. And almond flour, who would have thought? Thank you for being here.
Thanks, Peggy. It's great to be here.
Let's start out with some of these baked goods that you made yourself. I just had one of these biscottis. It was delicious, and no flour, no gluten-free. This is a big deal in my household. My husband, my father-in-law, neither of them can have gluten. So how do you do this?
Well, almond flour is super easy to use. So instead of using things like rice flour, potato starch, or wheat flour, I just create simple recipes that use almond flour as the base. And because a lot of people that can't have gluten can't have dairy either, I use grapeseed oil instead of butter.
I'm going to hold this up so people can see the great things that you can make. You use grapeseed instead of butter.
And then everything's sweetened with agave instead of white sugar.
So these are actually healthy Christmas cookies?
Yes.
Okay, so tell us exactly what's on the plate.
So those are chocolate chip cookies, which we're going to, I'll make some in a second.
Okay.
And those are lemon bars, gingerbread, and cranberry chocolate pecan biscotti.
I love
and they're all
that.
in my cookbook.
And I love lemon as well. So let's start with something. How do you make this? Now, first of all, when people are hearing this, and these are sort of unusual ingredients, are they hard to find?
I always buy my almond flour online. I like honeyville.com because it's about half the price and it's a really good fine quality. You want to use a really finely ground almond flour when you're baking.
Okay.
Because if you use something that's coarse, it's like trying to make a white wedding cake without like that fine white flour.
That good flour.
So we like Honeyville. It's fabulous.
Honeyville.com. Okay.
Yeah. So I just put the almond flour, salt, and baking soda in here. And then we put the grapeseed oil and agave in here, our wet ingredients.
Okay. Now, why the grapeseed oil mimics butter or has that same?
Yeah, it's dairy-free, but it has a nice buttery flavor.
Okay.
And it gives it a nice, rich taste.
And agave for sweetener as opposed to, say, a honey or just a straight sugar?
Yeah, honey has a little bit. Honey is nice, but it's higher on the glycemic index than agave, and it also has kind of an aftertaste.
It does. Even if you bake with it, you can taste it.
Has no aftertaste, so I love that.
Okay, now what about the chocolate chips?
The chocolate chips are going in a second.
Okay, and these have a lot of sugar, or are they regular chocolate chips?
No, that's a great question. They're dark chocolate chips.
Okay.
And the higher the percentage of chocolate, these are 73% cacao, the lower percentage of sugar and the higher in antioxidants they are.
Excellent. Okay, so you just kind of mix that all together. I'm going to go ahead and flip through your cookbook while you're doing that.
Yeah,
now,
we're on page 98.
You give classes and you're local. You live in Boulder.
Yeah.
Now, tell me, what's the hardest thing about cooking with almond flour as opposed to just your typical regular flour?
It's easier.
Nothing?
Yeah, because the cookies are, well, you can see how long it took us to make this.
Yeah, just to whip those together.
It's just wet, dry, and then scoop it onto the tray.
This is great. So you just use a little ice cream scoop?
I love using a little ice cream scooper.
And it has the exact same consistency as your typical chocolate chip cookies. Okay.
Yeah.
I get a lot of harassment around here. People say that I burn my cookies. But maybe if I go with almond flour, I won't have too much of a problem.
Yeah.
For folks that are gluten-free and they really can't enjoy any of these holiday treats, is this the solution? They can eat these almond flour cookies without any problems?
Yes. Well, and the great thing about almond flour, in addition to being gluten-free, is that it has a lot of protein in it. And the glycemic index of these foods is much lower than a regular treat. Yeah.
I'm going to go for the lemon bar, and it looks delicious. It's got the gluten-free crust and just lemon and agave flavoring on the top.
Yeah.
Delicious. Okay, the cookbook, Elana Amsterdam, is called the Gluten-Free Almond Flour Cookbook. How do we find you?
You can find me on elanaspantry.com or Amazon, Barnes & Noble bookstore, anywhere that books are sold.
And the lemon bars are so good. Delicious. Everything tastes great. Thank you for being here.
Thanks, Peggy.
And for bringing all these terrific treats for us. All right, it's 8:20 right now. We're going to have some of these snacks, but we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Gluten-free, made with almond flour. I love it. Very tasty.